This one, it says determine if the lines are parallel based on the angles given. So now this time I want to look at the angles and see if they're parallel based on what I have. And so once again, just look at each of these sets separately. If I kind of ignore this guy for a second and only looked at that top set, I could even ignore this piece. Look at these guys and say, hey, these make a line, so these are supplementary angles, okay? So anytime I create a line with two angles, those angles have to add up to 180 degrees. And so once again, when I look at this, that's going to be 180 minus the 100. So that's an 80-degree angle. So this guy has to be 80 degrees. And as I kind of hop around the rest of this thing, I know that this has to be 100 degrees because of vertical angles. I know that this has to be 80 degrees because of vertical angles. And so as I start to look at this thing, if I come on down here, one of the things I now notice as I look at this is I have the two angles in the same position, like right here. To measure this guy, I measure from the green line down to the line. From here, I measure from the green line down. Well, if these are parallel, I should get the same measurement. If the measurements are not the same, then these are not parallel lines. And so when I look at this thing, even though they look like parallel lines, this one has an 80, this one has an 85. These aren't parallel because they're not going off at the same angle, okay? So right here, I'm going to say not parallel, okay? If I look at the next one, same kind of thing here. Let's just start hopping around. When you look at something like this guy, think about what we know. We know that these guys right here, those make a line, so those are supplementary angles. So if I do the 180 minus 67, that gives me a 113 degrees. And so right now I have 113 degrees here. Okay? And then using some of my vertical angles, stuff like that, this is 113 degrees, this is 67 degrees. And as I start to look at this thing, well, right away I have my answer. Measure from the green line up right here, that's 67 degrees. Here, measure from the green line up, that's also 67 degrees, meaning these two lines go off at the same angle, which makes them parallel lines, okay? So yes, these are parallel lines this time. Okay? But again, we're getting back to that idea of, hey, if the slopes are the same, then they're parallel. If the angles are the same, then they're parallel. If I look at this one, same kind of thing. I just start hopping around and say, hey, you know what? This is a 75-degree angle because of vertical angles. And I'll look at this guy. This whole thing makes a line, so those are supplementary angles. That's 180 degrees, which means this guy right here has to be 105 degrees. If I do the 180, sorry, I skipped it. 180 minus the 75, okay? More vertical angles. This is also 105 degrees, okay? And then what happens here is I look at this thing, I say, hey, let's measure this. If I measure from the green line down right here, I get 105 degrees. If I measure from the green line down here, I get 105 degrees. Since they have the same measurement compared to that green line, these are parallel lines. So yes, these are parallel. If I look at the next one, same kind of thing. I start moving around this guy. Again, I'm just going to start with that first set and say, hey, these are vertical angles. That's 80 degrees, 88 degrees, sorry. These are supplementary, or I could have started with supplementary right here. I could have gone, hey, look, these make a line, so they're supplementary. So then I could do the 180 minus the 88. And that's a 92. So now I have this other angle right here. This is a 92-degree angle. And then more vertical angles, 92 degrees. But again, the one I'm looking for is that measurement piece. And I say, hey, look at this guy. The measurement here from the green line down, if I measure down, is 88 degrees. Here, if I measure down, it's also 88 degrees. I just need one of these to match up. And now I can look at this and say, yeah, you know what? They both go off the same angle. So these are parallel lines. So yes, they're parallel lines. Okay?